Welcome to the Marketing Nomad Show, the fun pit stop for all things Instagram, where I also share my entrepreneurial journey, some of my lessons, wins, and challenges along the way, so it can inspire you to get started and grow on Instagram as well. I remember it as if it was just yesterday when I opened my Instagram business account. I was terrified and yet excited. Oh my God, I can actually still feel the tingle when I think about it. There were so many social media platforms that I personally could have chosen from. And if you know anything about me, it's that I always do a ton of research before taking a step. So in my first ever episode of the Marketing Nomad Show podcast, I'm going to dive deeper into why I chose Instagram for my business and where has that led me so far. By the end of this podcast episode, I'm sure you'll have a better idea of whether you should get started on Instagram or not for your business. Welcome to episode 1 of the Marketing Nomad Show. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about 3 things. Number 1, we're going to understand why Instagram is an amazing place to generate leads. The second thing we're going to talk about is my personal 3 reasons for choosing Instagram. The last thing that we're going to talk about is where do I stand today? Am I regretting my decision? Do I love it? What's on my mind about Instagram? All right, before we get into the actual podcast, let me first tell you the backstory. This was in August 2019, and I had just made the decision of getting into freelancing. After I made that tough decision, I started to get to work. I needed to get clients by myself ASAP. I started listing out places I could find leads or people who were remotely interested in what I had to offer. I applied to all the freelancing portals out there. I got accepted in a few, and then I got rejected, obviously, by some of the bigger ones. Now, at this point, I was just starting out in freelancing, and some of these bigger freelancing portals, they require some experience before you get approved. Now, these bigger freelancing platforms, while they actually do a great job of letting you know that you'll get paid higher if you join their platforms. So naturally, of course, I got sucked into their marketing and I was feeling pretty bummed out at this point. Just a side note, I got accepted into 2 of the bigger platforms about 2 or 3 months later, and I quickly realized that this was not true. All right? Okay, now let's get back to the story. So here I am on about 5 different freelancing platforms, absolutely horrified at how low each freelancer was pricing themselves. I saw one person who was pricing their entire set of services for just $5. And honestly, that could have easily been at least $200 worth of services. But you know, at that time, I wasn't employed and I really had to do something to support myself. So I stuck along with those sites for about a month. I got 2 clients from those platforms. My first 2 clients for my freelancing business, and guys, I was paid peanuts. I didn't say anything at the time because, well, I needed to earn something, if not anything. Now, the leads that these freelancing platforms were generating, though they were big in number, were not all quality leads. Yes, of course, there were 1 or 2 people who were willing to compensate me according to the quality of my service, but they were just 1 or 2 people in a sea of about 10,000 people. Luckily, I was very fortunate to find 2 clients on the bigger freelancing platforms who are willing to compensate me for my expertise, but it ended there. Most of the time, I was haggling for a price I knew was my worth. I knew the transformation I could bring to the clients. I knew my resume was pretty awesomely backed with educational qualifications and excellent work experience, but somehow that wasn't converting into clients who would compensate me for my worth. That's when I started exploring other options. I took a look at Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and YouTube. Of course, there are stats that you can rely on when you're choosing different platforms, and believe me guys, the stats for Instagram was definitely off the charts. It was so clear that people wanted to engage with their favorite brands on Instagram and that it was one of the most popular places to build your own community. But the top 3 reasons why I chose Instagram had actually nothing to do with their stats. And I'm gonna dive a little deeper into that right now. Now, the first reason why I decided to move forward with Instagram was the ease of use. Whether it was through posts or stories or going live, these were options that were so easy to do. Given that it was just only visual content that you can post on Instagram, it actually narrowed down the amount of content work I had to create, and I was able to truly focus on creating visually attractive content. Now, to me, that seemed like a challenge, and as a marketer, that excited me even more. Not just that, I also knew that Instagram was competing with other brands like Snapchat and TikTok, and given the size of the company backing Instagram, I knew for sure that it was just going to keep getting more lucrative. Now, the second reason why I moved forward with Instagram was because I knew that was exactly where my target audience was. I did my research beforehand, and I knew the potential clients who would be willing to pay me my worth were more accessible on Instagram than on any other platform. And because of that level of accessibility, I also knew it would be a great platform for me to network with other industry leaders and peers. I truly wanted to leverage that. Now, the third reason why I decided Instagram was the best way to go was that I wanted a platform where I could be relaxed, creative, and also show my fun personality. As compared to the other social media platforms, the audience on Instagram were more open to me showing that side. I wanted it to be a platform where I could experiment as much as I could and not be judged for it. And to be honest, that's exactly what my audience on Instagram expects. Something new, something different, and something exciting. All 3 things I knew I would always strive to bring to the table. Fast forward a year later, and I don't have any regrets. Instagram delivered exactly what I thought it would. It's more time efficient for me to generate visually attractive content because I'm just so laser focused on it. Since I started on Instagram, they've actually made their free scheduling application even more user-friendly, and now I'm in love with it. IGTV has become more popular thanks to their new feature of uploading an IGTV directly from your phone. And of course, then came along Reels in 2020, and oh my God, Instagram has transformed in a massive way, and it looks like they're not stopping when it comes to taking down their competition. Now, my audience allows me to experiment with my content, and I am so happy with the levels of engagement as well. In the past year, I've met more peers and interacted with more industry leaders than I can count. And I've also, most importantly, built solid friendships with people I would never have had the pleasure to meet otherwise. We've had free collaborations, paid collaborations, both of which have actually helped me grow my personal brand and my business. And guys, there is no looking back. Not to mention a steady stream of quality leads that has led me to close multiple 4-figure months and allowed me to start my own company exactly a year later. All in all, if this is what you want for yourself, especially when you're trying to generate leads, then I believe Instagram is the place for you. Whether you're doing it for your business or you're trying to become an authority in your field, Instagram is a game changer, and I would highly recommend getting started on it. Now, if you've heard this episode and you're literally all pumped to get started, but just don't know how to get started, don't worry. I've actually got you covered. I just released a free masterclass that teaches you my 3-part strategy on how to get started on Instagram. It gives you actionable steps that you can take so that you have your Instagram page set for success. You can find the link in the show notes, or you can visit www.themarketingnomad.co/masterclass to get access to my free 90-minute masterclass. If you like this podcast episode, don't forget to leave a review. You can find all my podcast episodes with the show notes on www.themarketingnomad.co/podcast. If you know someone who might be interested in getting started on Instagram and isn't sure if they should, then you can absolutely share this podcast episode with them. If you want to catch more of my entrepreneurship journey, you can find me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is @themarketingnomad. I usually give tons and tons of Instagram tips and a pretty fun insight to my life as well. That's a wrap for me for episode number 1 of The Marketing Nomad Show. Thank you guys for listening. Talk soon.